It's finally here! The game that absolutely nobody asked for and everybody hated as soon as it was announced. So, how is it? Eh. First and foremost, this is a survival game. It's not a sneaky military shooter, you know, like the rest of the series is. Second of all, this is a spin-off game. It's not part of the main Metal Gear franchise. It was originally supposed to be an add-on for the Phantom Pain, and it's been made its own separate game, even though it still feels like an add-on. I suspect these reasons are why this game has been massively meta-bombed online. I mean, massively. I don't think it's quite that bad, but it's pretty close. I mean, put it this way. This is an annoying survival game wearing Metal Gear's tuxedo. And it doesn't fit. After an hour-long intro, the first things you need are food and water, which immediately makes me think that someone's overdoing the survival aspect, having both hunger and thirst. Initially, food is easy. Kill the sheep and gather their meat. There's some berries growing around the waterhole. There's even some clean water nearby. That's as easy as it gets, but the game does do a good job of directing you around the map past the resources you'll need. Your AI assistant Virgil sends you around the map looking for his/her memory boards. I say his/her because Virgil has a split personality and can't remember much, because their memory boards are missing, I think. Plot points are slowly revealed by recovering these memory boards. Oh yeah, and most of the map is covered by the dust, which is basically poison fog, and just as disorientating to be in. To explore this region properly, you'll need a breathing mask and oxygen supply, which you get early on. Otherwise you'll just drop dead.
I detect that you're hungry. Your mission requires that you look after yourself, Captain.
The map details remain hidden until you explore that region and return to base. Only then does the map get updated. In addition, the map's waypoint feature doesn't work in unexplored areas, and thanks to the dense dust, it's pretty easy to get lost if you're not careful. I like the idea that you can actually get lost in this game. The only way you can navigate is either by the compass around the threat ring, or by looking at the lights in the distance. A green light means usually an active teleporter. A blue light means a teleporter you've yet to turn on. Usually. Sometimes it's a container. Given you have limited food, water and oxygen, the teleporters are essential to moving around. Turning one on causes all nearby zombies to get really pissy and come running to attack it. The good news is killing all the nearby zombies ahead of time makes the teleporter defense far easier. In fact, it can make it really easy. Like you stand there for a minute doing nothing.
dehydrated will affect your physical abilities.
The game gives you a good array of weapons, armour and defences with which to protect yourself and push through the zombie crowds. Well, I say give, you don't get given much. I mean, you get given a spear and some initial medical supplies, but that's about it. You have to scavenge blueprints from containers, but you still need to build almost everything yourself, and everything needs components to build. A good tactic is just to grab everything that isn't nailed down, and a few things that are. The combat boils down to building structures ahead of time, stowing them in your inventory somehow, and then deploying them in the field in front of the zombies and stabbing them over the top of it. Well, I say combat, I mean melee combat. Every single bullet that you want to fire, and there are guns in the game, but every single bullet you fire, you have to craft yourself. There are no clips or boxes of bullets just conveniently lying around. No, you need things like copper, lead, gunpowder to actually craft the ammunition you're going to fire. And I don't know about anyone else, but whenever I fire a gun in this game, whenever I fire a single bullet, I kind of cringe, because I know that I'm going to have to replace that bullet. I kind of like it. It gives you a kind of investment in everything you build. Making all your own stuff makes you more attached to your equipment. Rather than just picking up ready-made gear, you know you've custom-made everything you own.
You're nearly out of oxygen. Supply yourself with oxygen by using Kuban energy.
To build more advanced gear, you'll need to expand your home base and build more advanced facilities. Rescuing survivors improves base functions, but those people you rescue also need food, water and medical supplies to keep them alive. Base building and crew management is really simple. All it boils down to is having the resources to do it, so grab everything. There's also cooperative multiplayer. Up to 4 players can band together to protect a wormhole digger while it extracts iris energy from the sky. The better you do in extracting the iris energy, the bigger the rewards for every single person that participates, and you get a ton of stuff. Mainly components, almost exclusively components, although you do occasionally get the odd piece of broken gear that you can fix up and use yourself in the game. The multiplayer is, however, zombie horde mode. So if you don't like that kind of thing, you're not going to like this multiplayer. I quite liked it. If you're not in the right place, one of your team members might be. So it allows you to cover a wider area and give the zombies more distractions. Allows you to break up their numbers and handle them more efficiently. I liked it. All in all, there's quite a bit to recommend this. For me, there are 4 major problems with Metal Gear Survive. Problem number 1. The combat is shit. I mean really shit. For a start, the enhanced CQC system developed for MGS4 and improved for Peace Walker has been gutted. Melee combat is nigh on impossible without a melee weapon actually equipped. And the melee weapon has to be readied before you can swing it, as if it's a fucking gun. The animations are awkward, and if you haven't got the dodge upgrade, combat itself is a pain in the arse. Add to that the fact that the zombies don't always get stunned when you hit them. There's no reliable way I know of stun locking them in place. You sometimes hit them and they just carry on and power through and smack you in the face. And of course, when you get hit, you always get stunned. Even two zombies can get you killed. Combat is purely defensive in nature. It says a lot that Frank West can tackle zombies in close better than this guy can. It is worth mentioning though, the multiplayer is better than the solo campaign, simply because there are more of you. If one of you drops the ball, the others are there to help. They can even revive you if you go down. You don't have that edge in single player. Problem number 2. The survival aspect is irritating. In my opinion, if a game has more than 3 things to manage, not including weapon and gear wear and tear, if it has more than 3 things, it's doing something wrong. I mean, take a good survival game like Don't Starve. You get health, hunger and sanity. That's it, 3 things. Metal Gear Survive has you manage life, stamina, hunger and thirst, which govern your maximum life and stamina, and oxygen. That's 5 things. You think that's enough? And those gauges drain way too fast. A single extended run through the dust often requires you to eat and drink a couple of things each to bring your levels back up. That means you constantly have to bloody search for food and water. Oh yeah, and your food can spoil as well. Joy. And just when you thought it couldn't get any more annoying...
I detect that you're hungry. Your mission requires that you look after yourselves, Captain. Pay attention to your fluid intake. Being dehydrated will affect your physical abilities. You're nearly out of oxygen. Supply yourself with oxygen by using Kuban energy. Pay attention to your stamina. You should rest before you're out of gas.
Shut up! Yet again, however, the multiplayer bears up better. Hunger and thirst still drop while in co-op, but at the end of the mission, your levels are returned to the point they were at when you started. In other words, max out your levels at the start, and you never need worry about them again. Until you return to single player. Problem number 3. The game requires a constant online connection. Our internet plays up sometimes. And when it does, I can't play this. You can't even play the single player offline. Which means that this gets effectively turned into a paperweight. Not a very good one at that. Also, since this game is part of a big push by publishers, you know, to push this idea of games as a service, when the hell am I going to play this game? I mean, seriously. When am I going to play it? I already like DC Universe Online, Warframe, Overwatch, Rocket League. When am I going to find time? When is anybody going to find time to play all these permanently online games? That's the beauty of a single player game. You can just power through it and just have that experience for yourself. But if all these games suddenly go online and are suddenly eating into, I don't know, like, you know, 20, 40, 60, 100, 200, 300 hours, and every game suddenly is a games as a service, when are you going to find time to play them all? I'm not going to. I'm not going to go on this over Warframe. So everyone is just going to do what I'm going to do. They're going to pick a favourite and stick to it. That means a lot of these games as a service are going to crash and burn. Preferably sooner rather than later. And problem number 4. The microtransactions. Quit the game, log back in, try to fire up a second character. 8 quid, please. 8 quid! Is that a joke? No, it's not. Because jokes are funny. You know, last time I checked, I owned my console. I owned the hard drive in it, which by the way is a 2 terabyte monster and is nowhere close to being full. I feel like, well, for this game at least, that my hard drive is being held for ransom. 8 fucking quid. Piss off. Also, if you want to deploy more than one exploration team, that's another 8 quid. Per team. Also, extra microtransactions allow the purchase of boosters, meaning you can make the game more expensive so you don't have to play it as much. Choice! I feel the need to ask a simple question. Who exactly was this game aimed at? I mean, it wasn't fans of the Metal Gear franchise, because this game is only tenuously connected to it at best. It isn't action game fans because it's too slow. It's not stealth fans because the zombies are too stupid, blind or slow for it to be a problem if you run straight past them, in plain sight. What were they trying to do? I mean, the only thing I can think of is they were thinking, right, survival games are a thing now, and we want to push this idea of games as a service, and we need to make another Metal Gear game. I know! Zoom! Well, that's my theory. Ultimately, I feel as though Metal Gear Survive is a half-decent idea, but it's been shoehorned into the wrong franchise and the wrong control system. It's a square peg being forced into a star-shaped hole. It doesn't fit. The final score for Metal Gear Survive is a 3 out of 10. It's bad. And I'll be honest, my final score wavered over this game. I did have fun with certain elements. I liked collecting stuff. I sort of liked the multiplayer, possibly because it made the combat less crap. And there were moments where I got lost in the fog and panicked, and I quite liked that. The irritating thing is I can sort of see potential here. Maybe if they hadn't made it open world, maybe if the combat wasn't as crap, maybe if the survival aspect wasn't as obnoxious, especially Virgil constantly reminding you to, you know, eat, drink and remember to recharge your oxygen. I don't know. I'm no expert on game design. I can see there's a good idea in here. Somewhere. But it's buried in crap. So that's Metal Gear Survive. 3 out of 10, bad game. If you're a fan, mega fan of the Metal Gear franchise, don't bother. Don't bother at all. If the phantom pain irritated you, this is going to piss you off something chronic. I feel these are all the Metal Gear games I currently own. I used to have MGS 2, 3 and 4 separately. I traded them back. I can't remember why. But I have them technically as part of the Legacy collection now. And I do honestly feel as though the series has only improved over time. Kind of like wine. And that this is the one that corked the batch. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what made them think this was a good idea. It sounded like a bad idea. I was optimistic after playing the beta, but the multiplayer's only better by dint of it mitigating the bad stuff. Oh boy. Anyway, what did you think of Metal Gear Survive? Or haven't you played it and have no intention of ever playing it? Leave a comment down below. Did you like or dislike my video? Click the buttons. And if you're a glutton for punishment, I guess you can always hit the subscribe button. See you next time. I hope Death Stranding's good. It's got to be better than this, right? Mind you, that's not saying much. I wish I was in a soundproof room and then I could raise the volume of my voice a bit more without irritating everyone. I feel like yelling sometimes and I can't. The game gives you a good array of weapons, armour and defences with which to protect yourselves. I'm only protecting myself. I'm not protecting anybody else in solo. They're not bloody coming with me. Jesus. Sod that. I already have to look after them with food, water and medical supplies. Stupid enough to wander out into the dust, you're on your own, pal. And problem number... I almost said 3 because I had the wrong number of fingers up. Makes a difference. Even though you can't see me while I'm doing the narrations, it does matter.